All
Connor,
right,
you get to do the intro, Connor.
I can't wait. Celebrating the life and death of former President Jimmy Carter. It's the Vox Cascadia podcast.
Why are we celebrating his death?
Because he got me a day off. One last gift to the public from Mr. Carter. So thank you, President Carter. You're a hero.
He's done that one day off is more than some previous presidents have done. So that's a good one.
Exactly. Plus, I keep seeing memes. He's like the first president since like John Adams to go to heaven. So that's pretty fun too.
That's fair too. Yeah. So welcome to the Vox Cascadia podcast. Like my buddy Connor said, I'm Chuck. You heard Connor. We got Tyler here with us. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just hanging out, working on terrain lately.
And we also have a special guest with us from Southern California, Mr. Dakotah Luster. What's up, Dakotah?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's good. Thanks for joining us. I know, thanks for taking some time, and it's the week before LVO, and thanks for taking some time out to chat with us.
Yeah, no problem.
We were hoping to have you on today because today was when the balanced data slate was going to drop, and I went to bed early last night. I set an early alarm. I got up. I checked my phone. I'm like, all right, well, maybe it's just a little early. Maybe it's not here yet. I checked my phone again, and then the reality set in that we weren't going to get the balanced data slate. So even though we didn't get the balanced data slate, we're going to chat about LVO or what's coming up for us, for me next week and for you next week. And Tyler and Connor can watch. And then I want to talk about streaming too. So I know you guys have been jumping into streaming quite a bit with streaming the World Championships, and we're going to be streaming at LVO for the third consecutive year.
Yep, that's fair. I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, I had to come out today when the balanced data slate did not drop and drop an email to all the players and a post on our Discord saying that we intend on using the balanced data slate if it so happens to ever exist. So plan accordingly.
There's got to be just somebody in Nottingham who's just hovering their finger over the balanced data slate button for Kill Team and not pulling the trigger for some reason. But it'll be here someday. I guess it's been like 3 months since the new edition launched, and I was really hoping we'd see it today.
To be honest, I have a guess.
Well, let's hear it.
I think it could be because of the app. It doesn't make sense why it's not out yet. The only thing that's really changed between balanced data slates and all that kind of stuff is the digital rule set, right? So the thing that we have to think about is is there internal problems uploading it? What is the delay? I'm very sure that Games Workshop is very aware that the world's biggest Kill Team event is about to happen. So to me, it doesn't really make sense. There's a bunch of people out there saying they think that they're just trying to screw over LVO, or they're just doing this, doing that. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I think there has to be some other kind of internal thing going on. So in my opinion, I think that it has to be something that's possibly outside of Games Workshop's control, or who knows what it is.
I've heard a little bit of rumbling about, it's just how their marketing and their announcements go. So how they had stuff slotted with the holidays and everything. Basically, they weren't able to get it in before this week,
Mm-hmm. And it's very possible too.
Yeah. 40K just got theirs today, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just got a bunch of updates. So it's not, they often don't push out, especially for their major game systems, updates on multiple updates on the same day, because they can make additional news and additional noise about it,
Yeah, we very well may see an update next Wednesday. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully.
Now put on a little tinfoil hat action. So okay, so we'd been getting pretty regular updates before, and then you go to the World Championships, Dakotah, and now Kill Team's been just hung out to dry. Do you think that you personally are the reason that they're just trying to drag you through?
I think all of the buffs that they had to give Deathcore to make them good is weighing down the data slate. Them and Imperial Navy Breachers, they're oh, we have to give them 15 buffs each. Mm-hmm. And it's just wow, this is just a lot of information to put in every single language. So it's 100% my fault.
Now, that is a good theory. I like that. And also, I do want to touch on that. Like, you are Pathfinder hater number one, and they got dumpstered in this edition. So while your Deathcore also got dumpstered, are you at least happy that Pathfinders suck right now?
In actuality, I don't think Pathfinders are that bad. I know a lot of people say they are, but I think they're better than Deathcore. I think they're better than a bunch of other teams. I just don't think that they can deal with certain melee teams currently, or Warp Coven or Legionary, like most other teams. And we also see a lot of professional Pathfinder players like John Reese, Travis, a bunch of other people, Mike Cortez. They tend to only play what's best, right? Even Chris Baki, right? And since Pathfinders are not the best team right now, they're playing, other people are playing like Inquisition, other shooty armies, other variations of this team. I will say that I don't think that Pathfinders are good. And I think they're perfect where they are. And in fact, I do think that they deserve -1 operative still.
That's the rallying cry of Dakotah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I support it. Like what do they need so much?
The fact that they gave the Warriors GA2 and they have guns that do 4 or 5 damage is just obscene. I don't think people have like tried to play just like, oh, I'm going to GA2 2 Warriors, move up and possibly delete. Not a Nurgle, not a Warp Coven. It's impossible. But like a Plague Marine, sure, possible. Just saying.
And then once we see nerfs to those other elite teams, which will probably hit on their durability a bit, I'm going to guess.
I would guess. I think Games Workshop definitely saw an issue at Worlds with durability and healing for elites.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I think this edition is simultaneously very killy, very deadly, but also very durable with the right setups.
Absolutely.
Well, Dakotah, like we've kind of already touched on, you've got LVO next week. So that's super exciting. And you also mentioned it's the biggest Kill Team event. I like that every year it seems to be growing, which is just super cool because it just proves the game has its wings and GW's right to invest in it. So let's go Kill Team community. Woo woo. But I sadly, unless we were kind of talking in the pre-show, can maybe make it like Tom Cruise. Probably not going to be able to this year. But like, what's the reason I should try and make it in this last minute? Like, what's so great about LVO? Say no, someone has never heard of it.
So LVO is an event that's one of America's few really big international events where people come from. A lot of people come from Canada. A lot of people come from, not a lot, but some people come from Mexico. We have people from Europe. One year we had a lot of people come from Spain. And LVO is just kind of like the greatest competitive kill team event while you sort yourself out real quickly. And it's just like, it's hard to explain. When you go to an event, Connor, what's the biggest event you've ever been to?
I think it was last year's Tacoma Open with like 90 something Kill Team players, and then I think like 500 attendees overall.
And you had one TO?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So imagine going to an event where there's like 8 staff members, 4 of which are judges, 100 and let's say 60 more people, right? And everyone is there to have a good time. And I reinforce that with every person that comes there because everyone's coming has spent Google's amount of money, a lot of money. They've spent a lot of money to be there. So remembering that everyone is a human, all there to enjoy the same thing is something that's really important and really special and not something that gets pushed at these large events enough. And I think it's a mix between such a big event because like when you go to Nova's more of a con. You go there, they have a bunch of cool stuff. You get to go around and look at stuff. LVO is a giant tournament. You know, you
It's
go
a
there and
tournament on steroids. Like it's
yes.
crazy. Like it
Yeah.
is. When you go to LVO, like don't expect a convention. Like there's a vendor hall, but it's like it's okay. You know, like it's worth
hmm
like hopping through. But it's all tournaments all the time, everywhere.
Yeah, and you see the most competitive people from across the world coming to play the most competitive event. As cool as Worlds is, there's no time clocks. The community has adopted time clocks in 40K. They've adopted time clocks in multiple other versions of the game. The community dictates what competitive nature is and what fairness is. So it's really important to to maintain that competitive integrity. And I really try to push that as much as I can at LVO because I think pure Swiss format is by far the most competitive event that anyone can do with 9 rounds. And that's the other thing. You get to go to a weekend and you play 3 days of 3 games with 30-minute breaks in between. It's a great pacing, um, and, like, the final thing is that you meet so many people from all over the US that they convince you to come again next year. And then you just keep making more friends and more friends and more friends. And then you're like, "Oh, you're this guy on Discord? Cool. I'm gonna join your Discord too." And then we can talk and keep chatting. And it's a crazy way to stay in chat with people that all have the same like-minded like everyone's paying to go to LVO because they all love Kill Team.
Hey man, I mean, like LVO, like going the first year, meeting you, and other parts of the community was such a huge thing for me. You
That
know,
was our
like it
that was our
really,
first year, yeah.
yeah. I came back and it made me more hyped, to grow our scene out here and do all the stuff that we've done since. LVO is really cool. It's worth checking out if you're on the fence about going. You got to do it. You got to do it at least one time in your life if you're a war gamer. If this is something you really love.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be my third year in a row. First year, I played some pods and did a little painting class. Last year, I played in the 3 day tournament, and then I'm playing in the 3 day tournament again this year. And I've gone to Adepticon. I'm actually going to Adepticon again this year, and this will be my third Adepticon too. And like you said, just mentioned that this is a tournament versus a convention. Like Adepticon is a lot of painting classes, there's huge vendor hall, and there's a lot of show stuff, whereas it's just hardcore gamers having a good time and playing games at LVO. Now they're trying to add more of the like painting classes, and I guess I think I heard that we kind of got kicked out of the room, or actually do you know what room we're in yet? But it's because it sounded like we were being moved because the vendor hall got so big this year.
Correct. So our very first year, the vendor hall was super small, mainly because the rumor is that Games Workshop really only allows um, non-competitors at certain events, right? So so people can go and they can like show off their products, but they might not be able to sell anything. I'm not really 100% sure, but then the very next year, like Two Thin Coats doesn't sell anything. They only show off their paints, right? So that like the next year, there's a bunch of other people there, and they had to sprawl throughout all the hallways. So this year, they're putting all of the vendors into a bigger area. They're making cosplay more of a thing. I think they're trying to go the more Adepticon route, to try and draw more and more people rather than it just being the world's largest tournament. Because it's literally the world's largest tournament for 40K, for Kill Team, for AOS, and 40K sells out within a month. It's or within like 3 weeks. 1,000 players just buy their tickets, gone.
Do you know
Right?
how many players they have like for all the events? Just like roughly off the top of your head?
It's around 30. I think it's between 3,500 to 5,000 people
Okay, nice.
between
That's pretty fucking cool.
all. I know that's a large variation, but I get different numbers. I don't know what to believe.
No, that's fair. I mean, like, plus depending on the size of the events and everything, like it's just hard to calculate. There's a ton of small events, I imagine too.
And every year we try to make it more and more grand. We try and get bigger and better, do different things, expand on things that worked the year before, you know? And I think player feedback is a very big part of that. And also, like, like the Canadians this year. There's so many Canadians coming this year because they did so well last year. And I'm really excited. Um, I think we're going to get more of a European presence in the future years, depending. Um, and that's really exciting as well, considering like this is the biggest event. If you want to have a shot at best in hobby track, if you want to have a shot in best in ITC, this is the event to go to. You know, out of any one that you could go to throughout the year, if you're looking for fake internet points, that's the one.
Well, this is also the last event of the ITC season, right?
Correct.
So, and actually, I think our good friend Jimmy Kelly is actually like number 2 right now, isn't he? Is he still number 2?
He is number 2. He's like 10 points, 12 points behind behind first place, and then John Reese is 2 points behind Jimmy. And they're the 2 highest seeds going into LVO. And LVO also has a really interesting format, if you guys want to go over format at all.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Format's really interesting. You have Group A and you have a Group B, right? Group A plays all open terrain. Group B plays all into the dark. On day 2, they swap. So a lot of times Group A is going to have harder opponents or opponents that match their skill level greater, more likely on into the dark, while Group B will have teams more like that on open. So sometimes you want to choose your team according to that. And then on day 3, every player mixes together. There's no top 8 cut. There's nothing like that. Everyone can play on any board. We mix all the tables. You might play 3 more into the dark. You might play 2 into the dark, 1 open, so on and so forth. And it's just like a massive, who knows what you're going to get on day 3. I think Tyler got unlucky last year and had to play
It was all
Into
Into
the
3 Dark,
games.
man.
Yeah.
It was like 2 days of Into the Dark back to back. And I think I played more Into the Dark last LVO than I had previously, period.
Yeah, that sounds like your personal hell, Tyler.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. Like, I did okay. 16 2 years in a row, like that's solid. I'm happy with those results,
I think that's
especially because I didn't really
karma.
have any. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how it would be karma.
From all the Into the Dark hate. That's
Yeah. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, not the top 16. It was just because like you were Into the Dark hater number 1 in the Northwest until
I mean, I still don't like
forced.
Into the Dark that much. So,
see, I feel that Into the Dark is the new light terrain format, which is crazy to say.
Yeah, for sure, it definitely is. I like Volcus is kind of crazy right now.
It is.
Like it's nutty. I was playing on it today. We rolled the dice, came up with map 4. It's just nutty. Like some of the maps are crazy. I'm working on some map stuff, like different terrain. Hopefully help people use some different stuff and let people understand that it's okay to not play on only the map formats that GW gives you.
I agree.
Dakotah, you want to talk a little bit about how you're with going into version 3 of Kill Team and having just a whole new set with Volcus, how you've changed your thought process around the open boards or Volcus boards for LVO versus last year, where last year, is there going to be any actual GW Volcus terrain? Because I know last year it was all squad games, Lester's Workshop stuff for open. Are we going to have any actual like GW Volcus, or is it all going to be squad game stuff again?
It's all going to be squad games. So I only own 1 set of Volcus. I own 34 sets of Into the Dark. I don't want to buy any more Games Workshop terrain. I will mimic that terrain with MDF, with 3D printers, so on and so forth, which we have an STL for Volcus. But we've also crafted a way to make our old open terrain into Volcus style terrain with adding a lot more terrain, because our old terrain used to be 4 bastions, a couple walls, a bunch of light terrain. Now it's like 6 bastions, 6 heavy walls, like 2 more little heavy walls, and I'm just like, this is an insane amount of heavy terrain. It's insane. I just can't wrap my head around it. But going back to your question, um, 3rd edition has been rather difficult to grasp fully when I was so deep into the rules of the last edition. It's been hard to forget a lot of the old rules and really just get on board 100% with this one. And also, like, so much changed. We have 3 objectives now. None of the old map philosophies work anymore. Not like everything has changed. So it felt disingenuous of myself to force players to play on like crazy maps that I would make or other kind of crazy terrain. So we're just going to stick to Volcus this year until we understand the edition a lot better. And um, that seems to be the way that players want to play competitively currently. We'll see if that changes in the future. Um, but I think that learning this edition, getting everything correct, seeing how the game wants to play it, and to be honest, the game is so unbalanced that it's hard to know how the game is supposed to function. So rather than just like putting an anointed behind a stronghold door and then you just can't get inside, it's like how does the game actually function outside of that? I did take a couple maps and I made them so that you don't have to assault the stronghold every single time. There are objectives more in the open on some of the maps, because I found it really obnoxious that they're like stronghold, assault the stronghold. That's how you play Volcus. And I'm like, ugh, it's so linear. We already have 3 objectives. The game is already linear. There's nothing creative about the maps. There's no creative decision making or anything like that. So, um, in order to make a little bit of a different experience, you know,
Yeah, I think that the 3 objectives is such a huge change. It's really hard to understate how much it's changed the game flow. And like you said, made it linear because depending on mission, it kind of dictates what you're going to do, you know?
mhm.
We were
that
talking. Oh,
th-
sorry. Go
th-
ahead.
that and all the tac ops. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, that's pretty much what I was about to say. Is we were discussing yesterday in our chat a lot about like people's thoughts on the edition and everything. And that was one thing I brought up that like you don't see it a lot because a lot of the craziest things that anyone just gets attached to is like some of the teams right now are like so bad, and others are just like, wow, this is crazy broken. But the biggest shift for me from like the previous to now current edition is the shift to 3 objectives and the single tac op. I felt just made the game far more linear than they were expecting. Because, like in the previous one, when you have 3 tac ops, that means there's a lot of different things you're going to be trying to do with your guys, whether that be tapping a point, focusing a specific target, or like tapping one of 6 objectives. But just the lower number down feels like a lot of your general activations are just following like the same 5 things: move and shoot, charge, fight, move, tap, and objective. And that's kind of it. There's not a lot else to it anymore, which is a bit of a bummer to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, Games Workshop said that they are going to change the crit ops every year. So hopefully they can learn from their mistakes and kind of make the crit ops better. I feel like Kill Team is suffering from poor balance, poor universal equipment, and poor crit ops, which is a lot currently. Um, I don't know about you guys, but I've been rather. I don't want to really make content until another balanced data slate comes out. There's not tons to talk about. Go ahead, Connor.
No, yeah, I feel you. Especially the universal equipment, which is what brought me here now, is one of my favorite things to always ask people is if you could add any equipment to the game, is there anything, or like, a universal one, anything that comes to mind for you?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Like, if you could add any universal equipment to the game, what is there any idea you have in your head? Like, for me, my first answer, funnily enough, it came with Ratlings now, but I wanted to see zip lines, especially with like Volcus having that 3rd story terrain piece. I'm like, people need easier ways of getting up there beyond just ladders.
Hmm. I would remove all of it. I would keep ladders. I'd keep barricades. I'd keep heavy barricades, frag and crack, and that's it. Everything else should be removed from the game. It creates
Ooh.
too much variation. I dislike it. It's just too much.
I
So
think
you,
that some of it is like really situational. You look at the map and you go, okay, well, I can abuse razor wire here. And
Yep.
so I'm going to abuse razor wire on this map. And other than that, it doesn't feel good. You know, like
Mines
it's
are
just little,
useless. I
you know,
took a mine
I,
every single time at Worlds. Guess how many times they blew up? 0 times.
you
My
just avoid the
idea,
spot.
yeah, my idea was like, I need every single bit of damage that I can get. Well, you can't put them within 2 inches of a marker. Can't put them within 2 inches of a door. People can just walk around them. There's so many things that are frustrating. Yeah,
You know,
frustrating for sure.
it's definitely like I think that we can all see the good bones. You know, like
Yeah.
we all know what last edition had for us. We were all so familiar and we were having a good time, and it was in a great spot, realistically, at the end of it. I think that we're all just waiting for this to get there. You know, like there's just like issues with timing on stuff where they're not going the way that you know, there's no timing on a lot of stuff. And
Yeah, I
there's
think that
no
you and me were talking about a rules chat recently,
no.
with timing stuff and the fact that we have to boil down sometimes to who has initiative to determine counterintuitive rules. It's kind of bad too.
Most definitely. And like, you know, some of it's just weird and it's like why this wasn't an issue last edition. Like it wasn't something that people were trying to do like the penitent potentially fighting 4 times in a single activation if you have the luckiest setup in the world, you know. All kinds of like weird stuff like that. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, and I think that people are just well overdue for a little bit of news, a little bit of balance. I think that a lot of people I know, a lot of content creators, people I talk to on the regular, they're just kind of over where we are currently, and it's hard to be more in a positive mood when it's just like, bro, I'm going to tell you, I have the best games when I fight like deathcore into like breachers or I fight deathcore into something else that's really bad, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
ironically, the game feels like you said really fun when you're doing some of the more like lower ranked teams. I know my friend Zarin, who's been doing nothing but Vespids, when he's tried them into like the higher ranked and when everyone's like assuming are better teams, they're just miserable. But then we'll do like something like Vespids versus like Fruit or Vetguard, where a lot more of the power balance feels similar between both those teams, and the game feels great at that moment. But when you just
mhm.
have that like upper half or like upper quarter of a team versus like any of the lower half, that's what's creating, I think, just the big like disconnect of like, damn, this just does not feel great to play right now.
Yeah. Or I've also heard that playing like the super OP competitive teams against each other, the game is also very similar, very good, very balanced. Um, and like, but like, I think one of my favorite teams right now is Rattlings. I think Rattlings are a ton of fun. They're a hoot.
I played one game with Rattlings a couple weeks ago, and I was almost thinking about bringing him to LVO, but I didn't think I had time to paint 17 models. So I'm bringing Rekkas, and I really enjoyed the Rattlings. I thought they were fun. I got my butt kicked, but I had a good time against Mandrakes, and I think I'm gonna work on those after LVO potentially for Adepticon. But it makes sense that if you're playing teams that are more evenly balanced, you're going to have a good time, and whether that's at the high end of the meta or that's the low end of the meta, it's just gonna be more fun when you feel like you have a shot to win or lose, not just demolish someone or get demolished yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why LVO we're all hoping for the data slate because I think everyone's like hopeful and ready. But I think that there are the really competitive players that are out there that are just willing to play Legionary, Warp Coven, and Hierotech. And like the game functions really well in that upper echelon, and it functions really well in the lower echelon. And um, I found Worlds to be extra difficult because almost everyone there was kind of on your same skill level, and the really bad teams in the same skill level of player wise, you just can't win, right? But then like a really bad team and a really good player's hands can still beat a really good team in a poor person's hands, somebody who's not playing the game correctly, but it is just immensely more difficult. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still very positive on this edition. I'm just in the Debbie Downers. I think most of us are. We're hoping.
We're all just
I've been praying to the Omnis Eye.
Exactly.
You won't answer me.
We were like last night, we were all going to bed feeling like Christmas morning, or rather Christmas Eve, like praying Santa Claus is going to drop off the balanced data slate. And like Chuck said, we all woke up and it was just like, man, this just sucks. This is not a good time right now. We're all waiting to because like you said, we're all knowing this game's a great time, and we know that GW is going to get it there again. We're just, impatient fucks, and we're like, give it to me now. I know you have it. Where is it?
Here's the thing: if GW doesn't fix it here with this balanced data slate, I think some people are ready to start stepping in and making local changes to their scenes. I've heard. So
Tyler, I know you love those homebrew teams. So
yeah, I was going to say
Absolutely.
Tyler's homebrew maps where he put all the heavy terrain in the Into the Dark, but that's a good time. I liked that.
Yeah, we're gonna get weird with it if stuff doesn't get fixed. If we don't see what we want. I don't know. There's only so much waiting that can be done on some of the stuff.
Agreed. Yeah, it's funny that you were talking about like how you guys all went to bed early. You guys are waking up like Christmas. I've been sick most of December, and then now I'm surrounded by 2 fires. It's funny. Jimmy Kelly called me, and he was like, "Oh, Dakotah, at least you're just dealing with sickness, and you're not dealing with any fires." And if anyone doesn't know right now, Southern California is on fire. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I hope everyone's safe down in SoCal. Hope you're safe.
Yeah, I could get evacuated tomorrow. We'll have to see. It's
man,
not. We'll see. Depends if the winds die down. If the winds die down, I'll be chilling. I'll be chilling.
News reports said that the winds are supposed to be dying down, but for those who don't know, how close is stuff to you?
So I have one fire 8 miles from me, and I have another fire that's 20 miles from me. But the 20-mile fire is actually, or it's like 15 miles, is scarier to me because that one is very much. It has a lot of country to burn to get to me, and the winds are currently blowing in that direction. While the fire that's closer has to burn through a city of 330,000 people to get to me. And I think we'll stop it before it gets there. I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to stop I'm pretty sure people's blood will put out the fire. Yeah, so I have one that's 8 miles away from me, one that's 15, and there's just a lot of real estate to burn. We haven't burned in a couple of years, and it's just really unfortunate that the Santa Anita winds came through during the New Year's. So
it's wild to me that you guys are dealing with wildfires in January.
Yeah, that's not typical, even for people that are used to fires. Usually it's like when it's the really, really hot. But it just like I said, like we haven't had a fire in these areas for like 3 or 4 years. We don't release the goats enough to go out and eat all the vegetation. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not a politician. It's just it's kind of crazy. It's crazy.
No, Dakotah, people come to us for our solid and well-informed political takes. How do we solve all of America's problems?
It's our next podcast is actually a forestry management.
Yeah, I heard the salvation to all of our problems is just space racism.
Space racism?
Yeah, space racism.
That's what they like to say on Twitter.
40K is?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
is. If aliens showed up, like world fighting stops and we're like, fuck those aliens.
Yeah, fuck the
town. That's what would happen.
That's the plot, or not the plot, but the message of like every movie from like the 80s, right? Like Independence Day.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the 90s.
I don't know.
That's from the 90s. Come on.
I feel like we've gone too far though. That people would be like taking sides with the aliens, or like they
fuck the aliens.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say like if they look like the Larians or whatever they're called from Mass Effect, people really like them. But if they're like ugly aliens like bugs, now we're gonna unite against them, type thing.
Or if they're the Daleks.
No, man. Like, have you not been on the internet?
you're right,
there's all
Tyler.
kinds of monster fuckers out there.
You're right, but like
you never know who's a monster fucker around you too. Like Nosferatu came out, and all of these people going crazy.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right. So besides fucking aliens, let's talk a little more Kill Team, and also Dakotah. Hope everything works out for you.
Be safe, buddy.
Yeah, I real quick on the fire stuff. A few years ago, there was a fire near me, actually where I'm at, and they had the little circles about the like be ready, evacuate and stuff, and that was terrifying to me. And so I can't imagine what you're going through. And there was a lot more between us and what was going to be danger. So hopefully it all works out and the winds calm down.
Yeah, I'm trying not to start my own fires and my own lasers. You know?
Yeah, you
battling two fires on
you
two
do
fronts.
you do have a tradition before LVO of having some disaster. Hopefully it's just the flu this year. It's going to be just the flu. So
just pop a Nurgle.
Yeah. So real quick on the balanced data slate, you put out a post, I believe today, that as long as it comes by the 16th, you're using the balanced data slate, right?
The day before LVO. And that I think is relatively unheard of, but on our most recent podcast, I dive into this. I'll tell you guys here too. Tyler, this is something that you guys are going to have to think about for your own event. This is a digital rule set. We're in a time of digital rules. Imagine you tell all of your players not to update their apps. We're not going to be using the most current data slate, blah, 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 blah. You know, a quarter of the people that show up to your event, all of my apps just auto update. So I have all the new rules. Like, what are you going to do? You know, it comes out on Wednesday, your event on Saturday. Well, it looks like you're going to have to play it. You know, you can't have more, like, for League of Legends. I play League of Legends. I'm sorry. You can all hate me.
No, I'm with you. We've been playing the shit out of it, and the new season drops tomorrow with so much new shit for it.
Yeah, I play Wild Rift, though. I don't play the computer.
Oh, okay.
Takes too long.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But I'm master on Wild Rift.
Hey.
So, hey, let's go. So, that's besides the point. You can't play when two players are on different patches, right? You can't do it. You can only play with one rule set. So like, then you're like, all right, everyone, update your stuff. And that's the exact problem that I'm looking at currently at LVO. If they drop it on a Thursday or something, right?
What else are you going to do, really? You got to roll with it. And that's the reality of a digital rule set, like you said. It's something I have been thinking about because, you know, they can drop anytime. We just haven't had any events coming up where we expect that balanced data slate to be coming out to where it was a major issue, you know?
Yeah.
Now, what about, and you also said that roster lock is going to be up until 8 a.m. on day one of LVO, right?
Correct.
So what about, though, will you be changing anything for Jeremy in our Discord asked, anything for like unpainted models? So is it still just like bring two teams, they still got to be fully painted?
Homie, they got to be still fully painted. You think I'm out here giving any sympathy for these meta chasers of legionary players or warp coven players? Hell no. You know? Yeah.
I guess
you should already had
yours then.
I mean, it's
I'll
easy
just loan
enough
you mine,
to put
man.
3 colors, you know? It's easy enough to put 3 colors on. You could just you can airbrush them 3 different colors and your model's good to go. You know?
Do
it's not terribly difficult.
You do the blacks.
I don't even think that's battle ready these days according to the GW standard, because it has to be like kind of like trimmed out, like details picked. If you look at their standard, it's not just 3 colors these days, you know?
For me, it's 3 colors and basing. So as long as you have 3 colors,
ours is 3 colors, but it can't be just like airbrushed on 3 colors. You can't just do like a gradient over your guys and then put on basing. You know, like you actually got to paint your models and like make an attempt at it. You know,
Tyler also requires that you use oils and golden so
be
flat.
Oil, golden so flat. You know, you got to airbrush primer, golden so flat base coat, and then oil washes. Otherwise, 0 for the hobby point.
What if
All
I
good
only
paints.
use acrylic primer, spray primer inside?
Well, yeah, you should be using acrylic primer.
Oh wait, shit, true.
Inside the mouth, though.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that made me feel really good
Witness
last time I
me.
did that.
Witness me.
Exactly.
You had another point to your question, and I think I skipped it, Chuck.
I
I think you asked me two things, and I answered only one.
don't know. It probably wasn't very good then because I don't even remember what it was, or it was the best question ever, and we'll hear it later. So
That's fair.
yeah. Also, when are you gonna do you work with oils at all? Because Tyler is oil simp number one.
Yes, I very much do work with oils, but I don't think that they don't find their way into every project that I have. Usually, if I'm going to be painting grimdark, if I'm going to be doing something like that, or if I want to do an easy panel lining, I'll use oils. Um, but a lot of times as well, I think that sometimes you can get a cleaner effect if you do a really nice gloss coat and then you use a contrast in those panel lines as well. And you can get sometimes a deeper shade without it drying and becoming a little bit. There's different techniques for different effects. And I think the longer you're in the hobby, the more skills and tools that you find. But I do like oils a lot. I just don't use them all the time.
Tyler loves oils. I think Tyler
I'm
has.
fully committed to oils. Like back
He's just
before
addicted.
Indominus came out,
He just likes to get high when he's painting.
I can't give it up. I'm addicted to big oil. I'll never give up my internal combustion engine. Huffing gas fumes till I die. But I think so. Like around when Indominus came out, I switched over to oils completely as like my primary medium. I was really working to develop like a personal style with my painting. And I think that I do. Like if you know me and you look at my stuff, I definitely have a pretty unique style. I think you can recognize it. And so I think that oils work well for that. They're definitely a commitment, but I think that for certain projects, people really overlook them, like terrain. If you want that, like you said, grimdark, gritty, grimy thing, oils are second to none.
There's
Nothing
something
will give
better.
you better,
There's something better.
more realistic results. There's not. Dirty Down doesn't have quite.
My guy, I got
I
you.
know
on
where
one.
you're going.
It's the Dirty Down spray.
It's nice. So my issue,
And
like
then it
when
has
it comes,
it's water activated, so you can rub it off.
Have you guys
So
have
it's
you
nice.
used that? Because Brandon, guy from my local scene, was actually asking just this weekend about the Dirty Down spray.
Yeah, I've used it a lot.
Right.
What about it?
How's it? Is it basically like Dirty Down except it comes out of an aerosol can?
It's very different. It does not work the same. It is more water activated, so you can reactivate it with water. So you have to matte coat it afterwards. And a lot of times it has a more green spraying. I'm colorblind, but I think it looks more green, like some of the browns that you put on. But I find it really good for like jungle terrain and a few other things. I think that their light rust one is also really good over metal. And since it's a spray, it's a lot easier just to get a bunch of stuff over. It smells a little bit, but it's not like having to use turpentine for oils and stuff.
I mean,
Cool.
odorless white spirits are a little bit easier than straight turpentine.
I agree.
My issue with Dirty Down, and like when it comes to getting like realistic, oily, grimy results on it, it does a really good job, especially for the time investment if you're not into it. Like getting into like individual panel lining or like controlling
Totally agree.
where the rust goes. But one of the things, especially because I am wholly oil, so it's oil-based coat with oil weathering over the top. The solvents are reactivating the lower layers and like blending, creating like micro blends and textures that you can't achieve with like acrylics or something like Dirty Down. And that's like one of the big advantages when you're doing full oil terrain. You can get some results that are ultra realistic for really low work. Dirty Down is incredible for what it is, but it's definitely a different tool for different uses,
Agreed. Totally agree.
So back to LVO.
Uh-huh.
This is what we do. We go on tangents, which is my favorite
love it.
part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to LVO. So you sold out this year. 174 tickets were sold, right?
This is the second time we've ever. Well, it's different. So year one, we sold out with 60 players. Then they gave us 10 more tickets. We sold out in 5 minutes. And then we sold out in 5 minutes again when they gave us another 10. And then our final one, we sold out in a week. So from 90 to 100, it took a week. And then only 87 players showed up. Then last year, we sold 161 tickets and 131 players showed up. And this year, we've sold 174 tickets. So we'll have to see how many players actually show up.
Well, I'm showing up. You're going to
Hell
be
yeah.
there as the TO, but Tyler and Connor are not going to. But for Tyler and Connor and everybody else who's got that FOMO, you guys are going to be streaming the entire tournament.
We are.
So are you going to have, so for the World Championships, you stream those for Kill Team, which thank you so much for, I'm sure money came out of your own personal pocket to do it, and really appreciate it, because trying to learn Spanish last year in the middle of the World Championships to watch their stream did not work very well. So I appreciate having Giacomo and Saya on there to narrate it for us. Are they going to be shoutcasting it or whatever you call it for us now for this one too?
So something similar. So this year we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to try for LVO. Worlds, it cost us about $5,000 out of pocket to get there and get everything set up and everything. We had to do it out of our own pocket, so it's a lot really difficult, to say the least. If we do it next year, it'll be probably different. It'll probably just be me, or maybe me and Giacomo, or maybe just me and Saya. We'll have to see. LVO this year, we're going to have Sheldon from Kill Team Stream. He's the one who taught us all the fundamentals of streaming. He's going to be taking over the computer entirely, and he's going to be changing the cameras. He's going to be using his Mevo camera, getting up and changing and getting different shots. And then we're going to have Giacomo and somebody named Marty, who's from Arizona, shoutcasting. Marty's very intelligent. He's one of our top Twitch commenters. He was actually on one of our more recent streams, and we were doing a small test. We were trying to see. I was trying to get Giacomo and Marty to make sure that they have chemistry, so that it's not like not butting heads at the event or anything, And they both have great chemistry. So Marty's very knowledgeable, and so is Giacomo. So we should have two really knowledgeable streamers. Not saying Sai is not. She has a different subset of goals at LVO. She runs the store, which makes it the reason why we can do LVO and why LVO is successful is because we have a store, we sell a lot of stuff, and we never go into the red at LVO. We always come out in the green. So knock on wood. So I think that she's going to be taking over that, and we have 2 volunteers helping her, and then I'll have 3 people helping judge. But yeah, we're going to be doing streaming on Twitch, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're even going to have a projector there showing the game. So if you get done early, you can go and watch.
Nice. Well, I'll get my ass kicked so I can go watch. But no, actually, you mentioned Marty, and I did listen to that Squad Games where he was on there, and yeah, I thought he did a great job. So I'm excited to hear him on the stream itself. It sounded very knowledgeable, and actually like great presence on the microphone too. So I think he's a great choice to help you guys out with that.
Yeah, he's going to be a great addition. I'm super excited about it because like I would love to do that, right? But that's not my hat, right? At events, that can be my hat at home. I can do whatever I want for my own content, but like we all wear hats at events, and mine is, as Tyler put, the War Master.
Well, now this is your 3rd year streaming LVO, right?
Correct.
And so, can you talk about maybe some learnings you've had over the years? I know we've got some people in our local scene that want to start streaming some games. I know that we've talked about getting into video on Vox Cascadia here. So, any best practices, any tomes of wisdom you can give us from having
Yeah.
done this a few times?
Yeah, absolutely. Start cheap. Start with just a phone and maybe some Rode mics. You don't want to overinvest because you're not going to make a lot of money doing it. I was gathering film equipment for years, about 8 or 9 years before, because I wanted to start a YouTube channel. And then Giacomo also had 2 or 3 Sony cameras. And so, like, our powers combined, we were able to make like a $6,000 setup, and so it came out really good the first year. And we we it was our very first time streaming at an event. I built the stream. We kind of went there. The computer stopped working. We had to jiggle wires inside of it fixed, and it was relatively successful. It wasn't like super successful, but it was relatively successful. The next year was like we had way higher numbers. And we had a lot more. We were doing a lot more streaming at events and practicing. So that year was way better. But we only mic'd players. One of the things that we got was that they wished that there was some commentators, because sometimes you don't have the most charismatic people on stream. And it is the way it is, right? They're not there to entertain us. They're there to win a game.
Real quick,
Mhm.
have you seen that ASMR of two guys debating line of sight and kill team?
I have.
That's so good. It's so
It
good.
is. It's so good.
I haven't seen that. You have to send that to me.
Absolutely. Right after the pod. It's beautiful.
So start cheap. You said iPhone, some
Mhm.
Rode mics. So the IMAX camera that I bought, we probably don't need.
The what camera?
The IMAX camera. I'm trying to do create like the Dark Knight, but for Kill Team.
Homie, if you do that, like, good luck.
Didn't you
It's
know
gonna take a
Chuck
lot
is
of.
actually like the most rich person on the planet? He works at a bank, so he can afford that shit.
That's
Yeah,
not how it works.
there's a streamer on the East Coast, Lifted Ground. He said that he's using a lot of Black Magic stuff, and like his files are just like 200 gigabytes per game. And I'm like, yo, dude, that's like too much for a miniature game, in my opinion.
That's
Ours is
insane.
like
That's insane.
for
What
for
do you
like
use the black magic?
for a whole day, we have like 64 gigs. Well, that's the other thing, is when you start investing into a certain brand, it's probably going to be the brand that you continue on. So, like, if you start off with Panasonic, you're going to stay in Panasonic. If you start with Sony, you're probably going to stay in Sony. If you start in Black Magic, you're probably going to go in Black Magic, right? And sometimes it's just like what you have from work or what you have available. Somebody has something cheap on Marketplace near you. I think the hardest thing that people have is making an overlay, a custom overlay in OBS. And that's where all the money and the bread and butter is in streaming. Otherwise, you have to do everything in post, which is an absolute nightmare. Um, and like, to be honest, Kill Team views are very minimal. So my view at making Kill Team content, battle reports and stuff, is I want to do as little editing as possible until I start to make money off of it, because I've already spent thousands of dollars in equipment. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars worth of my time, um, when I'm a very busy guy, right? And I'm sure everyone in this world is. And if you're not tabletop tactics, or these guys that are spending like $3,000 an episode, or these other like crazy costs for episodes, and you need to hit 100,000 views on a YouTube video, otherwise like you have a failure. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, for Kill Team, this is not going to happen right now. We still need like 4 or 5 more years of growth and development to start hitting a lot of those crazy numbers.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. So
I
just
think that Kill Team has the potential to be
Uh-huh.
a big game.
Mhm.
Specifically, I think it could definitely be the esports, if you will, of tabletop gaming or something like Kill Team. But it's not. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a minute for skirmish games to really like get their place and get the respect and like people to understand that they are truly a great competitive tactical game to play.
It's really easy when 40K starts sucking, though. But right now, Kill Team, people are like, "Oh, it sucks too," and you're like, "All right, well, can't argue."
Like fair. You guys sucked for last 6 years and going on 7. We've
Yeah,
sucked for 3 months. So
exactly. But I do think that Kill Team, you have to set your expectations when you start wanting to stream, you start wanting to do that kind of stuff, because it's a lot of upfront work. And if you're not willing to put the time and effort, or you don't have the money to invest in like a stream deck and some other things to try and change stuff on OBS, you're going to look at a lot of time just in in editing. If you don't like editing, then it's not necessarily the thing for you either. Outside of those, I would definitely say one of the most important things is audio, keeping players entertained. For instance, we're introducing co-hosts at LVO, similar to Worlds, to talk when players are not talking, because Kill Team can be boring to watch sometimes. And I think that it's really important to keep engagement up and not sit there and watch a 4-hour game. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Because
2 hour limits are going to help that out a lot, man. Those
they
4 hour
they
games
are.
were entertaining, but it was a lot.
Yeah, 2 hours is ideal for people's attention span. It's like watching a movie. You're like, oh yeah, my
Also,
friend's on. I can watch a 2-hour movie. We're good.
yeah. Also, I get it. It's Worlds. Like, let them play the absolute best game they can. But as a general competition thing, I think if you can't play a game in 2 hours, if you can't get to, wrapping up on there, what are you even doing at the top levels?
I think it comes down to one of the things, though, is that if you give them the time, they're going to play through that time. So it's just like, if you give someone space, they're going to fill that space. And I think that's the same thing with the players at Worlds. And like Dakota said, they're not there to entertain you. They're there to win a game. So
Exactly.
they took their sweet time. And I saw a lot of people in the stream that were kind of disgruntled, especially in the last game. And I even said in the stream, I was like, hey, they're here to win a championship. And I give them all the grace they want to take all the time to figure this stuff out.
Yeah, it's up to Giacomo and Desaya to try and make it more entertaining. That's what we're there for. But sometimes there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can talk about. And we were blessed enough to even allow that Games Workshop even allowed us to come to Worlds and stream it. That was very gracious of them to invite us out. So like I really wanted to put the best foot forward and really set the tone and the pace of what every single stream for a live event should be. Like, we should never take a step back from this point on for Kill Team. In my personal opinion, at Worlds, if somebody else goes, hopefully they bring the the same amount, if not more, than what we did. That's the goal, right?
Well, I think you guys did great. I think it was entertaining. And like I said, I just really appreciate I know you, like you said, you had a financial investment yourself to bring that back to us, the people who couldn't make it. Cause I remember the year before, like I said, trying to watch the Spanish stream a little bit and it just wasn't working. No hablo español. And also
I was the same boat.
and then trying to follow along through like BCP and see who was doing what. And
Last year
so,
was rough because they had the repair. I know.
yeah, so it was very, like I said, very appreciative that y'all made it out there, and it was nice to see some friendly faces on it as well too. So
Appreciate that.
well, Dakota, thanks so much for joining us. I'll see you next week, and super excited to
Hell yeah.
get down to LVO. It was kind of a last minute decision, but I'm glad I'm going to. I'm bringing the Rekkas. I'm just going to have fun, and hopefully there'll be a data slate that knocks everybody else down, and the Rekkas are top of the meta. So
Chuck, what do I owe you if you end up somehow snagging that win, like overall win?
if I overall win,
Yeah.
if I win the entire tournament,
Yeah, you walk away with that first place trophy. What do I owe you?
No
you have
talking about AdMech for a year.
no talk no actually I want you to take one ad mech and we're gonna put it in a blender.
No, that's not happening. It can be one of your ad
How
mechs.
about eat one? Eat an
I'm-
AdMech model.
I'll eat one of Chuck's models. I'm not eating one of my guys.
I will paint up an ad mech in Mars colors and
Okay.
you get to eat it.
But
Okay.
we got to put it on like a red lava cake though, so that way at least it's like a full thematic base.
I can give you that.
All
so,
right, sweet.
Yeah, but
Amazing.
Dakotah. Actually, real quick, I want to shout out. I want to do some plugs and shout outs. I want to shout out to Derek, one of my employees. Her boyfriend does 3D printing and gave me a bunch of Blood Angels bits. My team is Blood Angels for Big Hammer, and he printed up a bunch of the new. I can't remember what they are, but like the sanguinary guard bits that actually make them look good. So thank you, Derek,
Hell yeah.
for printing those out. The prints are amazing too. Like,
So are you giving the employee a promotion now?
no, not at all. So
Terrible boss.
yeah, so, I'd be a great boss if like you could bribe me with some resin.
I've
bits
seen
to
The
get a
Office.
promotion.
It seemed to work. They had a functioning company there.
She's playing the long game. She's playing the long game.
She's actually, it's working. So, but thanks, Derek, for that. Also, Tyler, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I was at Mind Taker this last weekend, and I saw one of your Burn One shirts on a guy, and I was in the middle of the game, didn't have a chance to get up and say hi to him.
Hell yeah! I hope you guys see a lot of those shirts at LVO this year. So should
I
be
hope so, too.
interesting. I wish I could make it out there and sell some shirts, and I wish the Kill Team shirts finished up before LVO, so I could have got those out. But they didn't get in before the Christmas printing season. So
That sucks.
I'm trying to figure out which of my Dice Thrower shirts to bring with me because I've only got 3 days. Actually, maybe I could do like wardrobe changes in the middle of the day. I guess and head back up to the room at lunch and get a new one.
Yeah, I mean it's hot
Yeah.
in Vegas. It gets sweaty.
It's not hot in
Yeah,
Vegas
I
right
mean,
now,
like-
but it's getting down to the 30s.
Oh, okay. Well, you're inside a sweaty room of nerds, so you'll get sweaty.
That's true. It is temperature controlled though.
Yeah, you should have plenty of them to wear there. So full wardrobe.
I gotta rock my CritCon shirt at least one day though, so I gotta represent
Hell
the
yeah.
Northwest. So,
Hell yeah.
but Dakotah, what do you guys? I know you said Saya's running the booth there. What are you guys gonna have for sale?
So Luster's workshop has been shut down for nearly a year now, and mostly because of a lot of dead lasers, floods, bad stuff. And I've been working on a whole new line of products. People saw it at AVTT and SoCal Open, but I'm looking to debut all of that to the world. Not only new terrain, but new tokens, new trays, a brand new 3D printed tray that I have been very quiet on. It's very small. It's very cool. I think I'm going to call it the micro or something like that. I have over 120 tokens that I'll be selling. Brand new dice trays that are all LVO specific. Everything that we're doing this year is black on black. So it's like matte black. It's going to be matte black and gloss black. So there's going to be a really nice contrast. We have brand new dice that we're debuting. They're matte black dice with a bolter for the 6 with white pips. And they get sold in a velvet bag with a bolter on it with an SG, and they fit your TAC op cards. We're doing shirts with the Squad Games Marine making his triumphant return, and all sorts of crazy good stuff. So if you're ever interested in acrylic tokens, new stuff, all that kind of stuff, my events are where they're at. We sell laser pens, all sorts of good stuff.
Now the acrylic tokens you have, are they fashioned like the new style we have? Are they still the triangle ones or?
Yeah, so they are the new style, and there's a brand new token tray that goes alongside that. And but I didn't stop making the old ones. In fact, I called the old ones the classified tokens, and the new ones The new ones are called classified tokens, and the old ones are called unclassified tokens.
Nice. I'll
'Cause
have
I'm
to.
doing the play on words
I'll
of,
set. Yeah. Actually, real quick, how are you gonna handle classified and unclassified once that rolls around next year? Have you kicked that around? I know we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a poll at LVO at the end of the event. But more than likely, unless if there's a resounding that we want a classified event, I'm going to be doing non-classified, specifically because it'll piss off all the Europeans. All of the Europeans are going to be doing classified. And I think that this game is not a card game. I think that this game is something better and different. And I don't really want to um, participate in that kind of a sales strategy or pushing new teams. People are going to buy new teams because it's plastic. They're not going to buy new teams because you're forcing them to. So in my opinion, I think that all teams should be viable as long as they have rules. Whether they get updates or not, that's not my prerogative. But I think that all teams, does that make it harder for me? Absolutely. But that's my opinion.
If Hunter Clay never get buffed, whenever I come to an event, can I just get like a secret Dakotah buff from you, like double operatives or something?
Hell yeah, dude.
Sweet.
You should be playing our narrative this year, dude. Our narrative is crazy. Crazy, bro. Like, you don't even know.
I'm very sad because I was hearing you guys talk about it like on the podcast and stuff yourself about like what you do for it. So I'm definitely sad I can't make that the LVO this year. But that brings me to a question I was going to ask. I couldn't make AVTT last year because I was busy getting married. This year, unless a lot
Congratulations.
thank you, unless a lot of stuff happens, I should not be getting married again in September. So, is it still happening this year in September or like around that time so I can start planning?
It will be. It'll happen the weekend of the 20th. We're looking for a venue.
Hell yeah.
And we're searching between 2 different venues currently. But yeah, the All Valley is coming back. It's one of our most successful events. And it's a lot of people's favorite events because there's nothing like a team event. And if you've never played in a team event, then you should.
I've only played in the one where Brandon carried me to first place after I fucked up with Felgor like 3 times when they were super broken. So
And lost one of his custom.
I have apologized immensely.
One of the custom tokens, lost one of them.
Yeah.
That he won for Killscream 2 that Dakotah sent up.
Yeah, from Dakotah. I've ruined so many things now. So, you know, the hope is to try and make the AVT this year. Or AVTT. I'm not good with abbreviations.
You're fine. It's the Cobra Kai tournament, okay?
Yeah.
Because we live in the valley.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, Dakotah, where can people find you?
So you can go to squadgames.net, or you can go on our YouTube, which is Squad Games Entertainment or Squad Games. You can look for our show, Hobby Highlander, which we're going to be doing a lot more of this year. We have like 4 episodes that are about ready to drop. Giacomo's just finishing up editing the last one. And then we'll be able to produce them a lot faster because we're changing our editing style. But yeah, you can check out there. You can find our Discord. You know, we're pretty cool. I'd say I think we're pretty cool guys.
Yeah, you're pretty cool guys. We'll do all the link in the description stuff. So, me myself, you can find me at Painting Cave Minis on Instagram. Connor's at Spanaway on everywhere. Tyler's at Lowbrow Minis and diceroar.bigcartel.com. And yeah, well, thanks for joining us, Dakotah.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Thanks for entertaining me and letting me talk so much. And thank you for everyone listening for that as well.
Yeah, we appreciate the Tyler and I, especially as TOs ourselves, we appreciate all the hard work you're putting into an event like LVO. And so hopefully you can make it up for Killscream 4 and CritCon this year too.
That is the hope, and that is the dream, fellas. That is the dream.
Hell yeah.
Well, you can crash on my couch if you need. So.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Wait, I thought I got your couch.
No, you can sleep in the garage.
Okay. Can I have Indy at least, like as a pillow?
You can have the dog. Not as a. Don't lay on my dog.
Well, he's bigger than me. I'm a small person.
He's smarter than you too.
That maybe. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got one now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's so far it's just like, you know, the how you start off, it's title cards and us chatting in the background. But yeah, also through my hard work and sitting on a computer for hours this weekend, all of our episodes are available pretty much everywhere now. So I figured out actually how RSS works. And so you can actually find us on Apple, Spotify, Overcast, Amazon, a million other things too. So and if there's a platform that you want to hear us on and we're not on it, let me know and I'll try and get it on there too. But I apologize for all the notifications if you do subscribe to us, because I had to repost every single of the last 49 episodes.
Well done, Chuck.
So, but they're all up there now. So, and going forward, it'll be much easier on me and much more accessible for y'all. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Have a great evening. Yeah. Connor, you got AdMech tidbit to sign us off with? You didn't get any AdMech corner for like last 2 weeks.
I didn't have that corner
101
last week.
222 101 11000.
That works. People didn't realize that the hounds they ride, the Cerberus Raiders, those are actually real dogs that have been converted into half cyborg dogs, because even man's best friend in the far future deserves the gift of the Omnicide.